Yes. Good afternoon, children.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
For your periodic test 1, you have chapter 6, the fundamental unit, chapter 5, the fundamental unit of life. The whole chapter you have. It's a very small chapter. And chapter 6, tissues. From that, only up to animal tissues. Means from the beginning till animal tissues. Animal tissues part, you don't have to learn. Including plant tissues. From the beginning till animal tissues means animal tissues not included. Only 3 chapters we have for this academic year. That is why I didn't give both the chapters. Then we will have nothing left for the next exams. This is just our periodic test 1. No, we have many more exams. So I will not have any topics to give. So that is why I thought only up to animal tissues. When I say up to animal tissues, that is not included. Now we have to cover a few more topics. With that, we'll complete the topics or portions for periodic test. So without further delay, I'll start with that. Last class, we learned about epidermis. Now we are going to learn about certain other cells which are scattered in the epidermis. So scattered in the epidermis, you can see some minute pores. Small openings are present on the leaf. You call them as stomata. You can see a microscopic view of it. Scattered in the epidermis, small pores are there. And stomata, these are openings and they are guarded by, or they are protected by 2 cells which are kidney-shaped or bean-shaped cells. You can find that opening, an opening in the center, that is known as, this opening is stoma, stoma singular, stomata plural. And what you see on either side, these are guard cells. We call them as guard cells because they regulate the opening and closing of stomata. When the stomata is opening and when it has to close, all that will be decided by these guard cells. When guard cells absorb water, they will swell up and these pores will open. And when water is low, when water is less, the stomata will shrink and, the guard cells will shrink and the stomata will be closed. So the presence of water in these guard cells will regulate the opening and closing of stomata, or else you can say all those details you will learn in class 10. Guard cells will regulate the opening and closing of stomata. They are enclosed by, these openings are enclosed by 2 kidney-shaped cells and we call them as guard cells. And we call them as guard cells because they regulate the opening and closing of stomata. And these openings known as stomata, stoma singular, stomata plural. They are necessary for the exchange of gases. They help in the exchange of gases, taking in oxygen, giving out carbon dioxide, or taking in, or exchange of both these gases. When plants respire, they need oxygen, they breathe out carbon dioxide, and during photosynthesis, they need carbon dioxide and they give out oxygen as a byproduct. For all the exchange of gases, these openings are needed. It is through these openings that the exchange of gases takes place. Apart from that, they help in transpiration also. Have you heard about transpiration, children?
Yes, ma'am.
Transpiration means the loss of water in the form of water vapor from the surface of leaves. That also takes place through stomata. It's similar to sweating in human beings. We sweat, no? When the weather is too hot, we sweat. Similarly, plants also undergo transpiration. It's a loss of water in the form of water vapor from the surface of leaves. And when outside the temperature is too hot, when the sun is shining brightly, more amount of transpiration will take place. The transpiration rate will be more when it is hot outside. But when it is cold, during cold conditions or in cold climate, transpiration rate will be less. Okay. So transpiration is the loss of water in the form of water vapor from the surface of leaves. And it helps in 2 important functions in plants. One is that it will help in transporting. Conduction means transportation. It helps in the transportation of Water and minerals. It helps in the transport of water and minerals to different parts of the plant. It helps in transporting water and minerals to different parts of the plant. And second function, I told you, we sweat. We also sweat and water gets evaporated from our body. And while we sweat also, what happens after sweating? How do you feel? When do you sweat usually? When it is very cold or when it is very hot?
Very hot.
And what happens after sweating? How do you feel?
Very tired.
Tired, but do you feel cool after sweating?
Yes.
Once it will help in helping in maintaining your body temperature. So sweating is the mechanism, is a process of our body, is a mechanism by means of which we maintain a normal body temperature, that is 37 degrees Celsius. So it will help in regulating the temperature of our body. Similarly, transpiration will cool the plant, or it will help in regulating the temperature of the plant body. So once again, we learned about stomata. They are minute pores present on the surface of leaves. And they are enclosed by two kidney-shaped cells. You call them as guard cells. They protect these openings and regulate their opening and closing. And stomata helps in the exchange of gases. And then we learned about transpiration, the loss of water in the form of water vapor from the surface of leaves. Transpiration is useful to the plants mainly in two ways. It helps in regulating the temperature of the plant body. It also helps in transporting water and minerals to different parts of the plant. Any doubt? Do you have any doubt? Yes or no? I'm waiting for your answer.
No.
Okay. What are stomata, Lakshmi? What are stomata?
The minute pores are present on the epidermis of a leaf is called stomata.
And what function do they perform, Lakshmi Nandakumar? Why plants have stomata? It helps in these openings, help in
gases with the atmosphere.
Help in the exchange of gases with the atmosphere. And then what else we learned? We learned about transpiration. Nandana, what is meant by transpiration?
And transpiration is a loss of water in the form of water vapor from the surface of it.
Yes. And I told transpiration serves two important functions. Isha, one function.
It cools down the body of the plant.
Or else it will help in regulating the temperature of the plant body. Then Jairus, what is the other function, child? It helps in
conducting water and minerals.
Very good. Water and minerals to different parts of the plant. Can I proceed then? Okay.
Yes.
And we learned that in plants, the entire plant body is covered by a protective tissue that is known as epidermis. When we discussed about epidermis, I told that in all parts of the plant, whether it is root or leaf or stem, they all have an epidermal layer protecting it. But as the plant grows older, as they grow older, this protective tissue or epidermis will undergo certain changes. Epidermis is a protective tissue, or it protects the entire plant body. But as the plant grows older, this outer protective tissue will undergo certain change. And it will be replaced. The outer protective tissue is epidermis. It will get replaced by secondary meristem. We learned about meristem. What are meristematic tissues? What is the most important feature of meristematic tissue?
They undergo dividing.
They are actively dividing tissues. And you know that when these meristematic tissues cannot divide anymore, they will change into permanent tissues. But sometimes they will regain their ability. Some of them will regain their ability to divide, and we call them as secondary meristem. And this secondary meristem will replace the epidermis. So as the plant is growing, the epidermal covering will undergo some changes. It will get replaced by another tissue. Epidermis will be replaced by another tissue known as secondary meristem. And cells on the outside will be cut off from this layer. So the cells which are present outside will get separated from this layer, and they form several layered cork or bark of the tree. So the secondary meristem, they will undergo changes and transform into several layered cork or bark. You know, it is a dead tissue. Cork tissue is dead tissue, and they are very closely arranged. Cork tissue or the cork cells are very tightly, very compactly arranged without any gap in between, without any intercellular spaces in between. And in the walls of this cork cells, there is a substance, a chemical substance, you call it as suberin. Suberin. You have learned about lignin also, no children? Lignin, cutin, suberin. Where did we learn about cutin?
Cuticle.
Cuticle. Where is cuticle found? Above the epidermis. Above the epidermis, there is a waxy coating. You call it as cuticle, and it is made of cutin. Then lignin, where did we learn? Lignin. Where is it found? In which cells?
Desert plants.
Louder.
Desert plants.
I'm not able to hear. Advaith Murali, where do you find lignin? In which tissue? In which simple permanent tissue? Checking?
Moment.
And then tell me. Only 3 simple permanent tissues we learned. Parenchyma, sclerenchyma, collenchyma. Where you can find this lignin? In which of these tissues the cell wall is very thick? Thicker cell wall is found in parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma. Advaith. Which of these tissues? Cells are very thick. Anybody else? Sclerenchyma. So we can find lignin in the walls of sclerenchyma. Why I reminded you of these 2 substances is because you should not forget, or you should not get confused between lignin, suberin, cutin. Cutin makes up the cuticle layer found above the epidermis. Lignin is a substance which will thicken the walls of sclerenchyma. Suberin is found in the walls of cork tissue or cork cells. And because of the suberin thickening, the cells will be impervious, impermeable to water and gases, because water and gases, because of this substance, cannot pass through this layer, and they will provide maximum protection to the plant. Once again, we learned about cork tissue. How is cork tissue formed? As the plant grows older, the epidermis, which is the outermost protective tissue, will be replaced by secondary meristem. And the secondary meristem will form several layered cork tissue. And what are the features of cork tissue? These are dead. These are made up of, this tissue is made up of dead cells. They are very closely arranged, compactly arranged, without any intercellular spaces. Then they have a substance known as suberin, where in their walls. What is the advantage of having suberin? They will make their walls impervious, means impermeable. They cannot move in. Water and gases cannot move through that. So because of the suberin, the walls become impervious or impermeable to gases and water. How is cork tissue formed? Fadil, how is cork tissue formed?
Ma'am, when trees get older, the epidermal cell changes
Replaced
to
by
secondary
meristem. The secondary
meristem.
meristem will change into which tissue? Epidermis is actually single layered. Okay. It is replaced by secondary meristem. They will form many layered cork or bark. They will form cork or bark tissue. We learned 3-4 features, 3 features of this cells of cork tissue. One feature, Tom? Any one feature of cork tissue?
And they are compactly arranged.
They are compactly arranged without any intercellular spaces. Vaishnavi?
Ma'am, they have several layers.
They are made up of many layers. Sridev?
The cells are dead.
Cells are dead. Then? Surya?
They have a chemical called suberin.
Suberin. And what is the advantage of having suberin?
Impervious
that
the
will
gases
make
and
their
water.
walls impervious or impermeable. You learned in plasma membrane, it's a semi-permeable membrane. Allows certain substances to pass through. So impermeable means cannot pass through. It makes it impervious to gases and water. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now we are going to see the last part of plant tissue. We learned about simple permanent tissues. Permanent tissues are of 2 types, simple and complex. Simple we completed. Which are the 3 simple tissues, Adigesh?
Collenchyma, sclerenchyma, and
P. A.
parenchyma.
Parenchyma. Now the next one is complex tissues. We called parenchyma, sclerenchyma, and collenchyma are simple tissues because they are made up of just one kind of cell, only one type of cells. But here in complex tissues, more than one type of cells are present and they all work together to bring about a common function. So you call it as complex tissues. In simple tissues, only one type of cells. In complex tissues, many type, more than one type of cells are there. But all these cells together perform a common function. Example, xylem and phloem. These are the 2 complex tissues found in plants. Both of them are conducting tissues, means conduction, transportation. They'll help in transportation, like water, minerals, food. All these substances should be transported from and to different parts of the plant. So these are conducting tissues, and together, xylem and phloem, together we call it as vascular bundle. Vascular bundle includes xylem, phloem. Xylem and vascular bundle. Xylem and phloem are name the 2 conducting tissues in plants. Xylem and phloem. Name 2 complex tissues in plants. Xylem and phloem. What constitutes a vascular bundle? Again, xylem and phloem. Vascular tissue or conducting tissues is found in complex plants, and these tissues will help in transporting food and water. Conducting tissues or vascular tissues helps in conducting or transporting food and water. Once again, complex tissues are called so because they are made up of more than one type of cells. Example, xylem and phloem. Xylem and phloem, we can call them as conducting tissues or vascular tissues or even as vascular bundle. They are known as vascular tissues because they help in transporting food and water to different parts of the plant. Now we will learn about phloem. We'll start with phloem. Phloem is made up of 4 types of elements. So I told you in the beginning, they are known as complex tissues because they are made up of more than one type of cell. So phloem is made up of 4 types of cells or elements. Sieve tubes, companion cells, phloem fibers, phloem parenchyma. Okay, the function of phloem is to transport food. 4 types of cells are there, but together they will help in transporting food. Where is food prepared in plants? Leaves. So from the leaves to different parts of the plant. So there are 4 types of cells. We call them as sieve tubes because this tube is provided with so many pores, just like a sieve. Sieve means aripa. So just like a sieve, so many openings are there. So you call it a sieve tube. And at the ends, there are certain sieve plates. Then companion cells. They assist sieve tubes in transporting food. Then fibers are also there. Phloem fibers, phloem parenchyma, sieve tubes and companion cell. So this is sieve tube. This one is companion cell. And this is phloem fibers. Sieve tubes are tubular cells with perforated walls. Perforated walls means with pores on it, with openings on it. With small pores or openings. So sieve tubes, as you can see in the picture, this is a sieve tube with these are the openings. You call it as a sieve tube. They are tubular cells having perforated walls. Perforated walls means the wall is having small pores on it. Once again, phloem is made up of 4 types of elements. Phloem fibers, phloem parenchyma, sieve tubes and companion cells. And phloem helps in transporting food from leaves to different parts of the plant. Sieve tubes are tubular cells having perforated walls. Companion cells will assist the sieve tubes in transporting food. Once again, I will repeat. Phloem is made up of 4 types of elements: sieve tubes, companion cells, phloem fibers, phloem parenchyma. Phloem with all these elements will help in transporting food from the leaves to other parts of the plant. Sieve tubes are tubular cells and they are having a perforated walls. The walls are, as you can see in the figure, small openings are present. Together, all these elements will help in transporting. Transporting what, children?
Water and minerals.
Phloem.
Food from
Food.
leaves to
About xylem, we will learn next class. So what did we learn about phloem? Navneet, which are the 4 components of phloem?
Sieve tubes, companion cells, phloem fibers, and phloem parenchyma.
Good. What did we learn about sieve tubes? Idelio, what did we learn about sieve tubes?
Sieve tubes are tubular cells with thin cells.
With perforated walls. And what function do they perform? Anandita, what function do they perform?
Transport food from the leaves to other
parts of the plant. So we'll continue with complex tissues next class also. Hope you have understood what we learned about phloem. So we'll see xylem in detail in the next class. Thank you, children. See you next class.
Thank you.
Thank you.